Yeah.
I love that.
Well, there were two versions of it.
Right.
I had started, mine was Electronovision, which was an experiment that really didn't work.
Right.
And we had a 3-week rehearsal period. And my mother was played during the rehearsals by Judy Garland.
Right.
And Judy came to me the day before we started shooting and said, Carol, this is a piece of I'm leaving. And I said, no, Judy. And Ginger Rogers took over for her at short notice, did a beautiful job. And
so you saw Judy Garland at the last moment, didn't you?
Within the last year.
Yeah.
This is a George Hurrell.
That is beautiful.
Isn't it beautiful? Yeah. I don't think of it as exactly me, but on the other hand, it's a beautiful picture.
When you see your films, you don't. You said you don't see yourself exactly you. Who is Carole Ann?
Well, I change daily, like most people. Yeah. Actors are kind of funny when they see themselves on film. I think myself and, like most actors, are quite critical.
Right.
And you see the one flaw. I don't really look at myself that closely because I always want to correct it. But I listen to myself, and I listen for something wrong, and then I die.
So you are critical.
Oh yeah, I think most actors are.
They are, yes.
Yeah.
Carole Lynley,
Very few actors look at themselves and say, I love you, I love you.
Is the theater or film started, Carole?
I started in the theater in New York on Broadway.
Right.
I've done about 10 Broadway plays.
And they brought you to Hollywood?
Well, I was on the cover of Life magazine when I got 14.
14 on the cover of Life.
And the Disney people hired me to do Light in the Forest.
Right.
And I just finished a Broadway play, and I came out to do that. That was my first movie, and now I've done 45.
Now, Brandon, I want to tell you something very touching. Brandon.
Yeah.
Brandon DeWilde. DeWilde. I always say DeWilde.
He was very
He didn't like that, did he?
No.
Brandon DeWilde.
Yes,
Wonderful, wonderful actor, and you guys were great together. What charisma on film that Carole Lynley and Brandon had.
Well, we were friends. We also lived near each other in New York, and we hung out, and so we were friends. And also we were around the same age, and it was where everybody else was very much older than us, and we had a lot in common.
Sad that he had a...
Very sad. He has a son, Jesse, who would be in his 30s now, and last time...
See him?
No, I don't know where he is, but last time I saw Jesse was with Brandon, and Jesse was about 4 or 5. He looked just like Brandon. It was amazing.
You look wonderful. You did it. You had a talk show for a while in New York City.
I had a talk show for 10 years, cable.
10 years?
Yes, I can interview you sometime.
I know you can. I love you too. We'll interview you. Yeah. Carole Lynley is always...
Give me that microphone!
Carole Lynley, you're great. Thank you so much, darling.
Okay.
Always great seeing you.
You really hang on to pretty tight to that mic, Skip.
It's yours, honey. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pat,
how are you? I haven't seen you for...
Pat Priss table right now. How are you, Pat?
I'm
going from
fine.
table to table, from Carole Lynley, Troy Donahue, John Agar, and now Pat Priss.
Well, I'm glad to be in such wonderful company.
You are, darling. My God, look at this. Look at Pat here.
Yeah.
Look at Pat here. What have you been doing? These are the monsters and all these...
The interesting thing is the show has been on the air for 34 years, every single day somewhere in the United States. And of course, when I do these shows, I have to remind little children, who think it was filmed yesterday.
Right.
And they expect to see, 19-year-old Marilyn.
Right.
I have to, remind them, and they'll look at me and they'll say, you, Marilyn? And I'll go, yes, I am. And they'll say, you don't look like her. And I'll go, well, that was 34 years ago, and we do age.
Tell me, how did you get that role? How did Pat get it?
I tested for it.
Did you really?
There was the first Marilyn. She was there for 4 months.
Right.
And then she was leaving to get married, and this was the last day of testing, and they tested 5 girls, and this was on a Wednesday.
Right.
And they called me up on Thursday to tell me I got the part. Friday I signed the contracts, and Monday I started working.
And that's been what, 30-something? Look at how many.
34 years ago.
You're still getting checks all the time, right?
No.
What
you see,
happened?
I worked under the old union contract.
Right.
That's why I'm doing memorabilia shows, and we did not get any residuals.
How naughty, how really naughty.
And there were a lot of us, Batman and the Green Hornet, and lots of us that just did not get residuals.
I'm so sorry about that. Pat, where are you from originally?
I'm from Utah originally. I'm living now in Idaho.
Ooh, tell me
And
about
I just,
Idaho.
oh, it's wonderful. Well, I live in the best part. I live, actually, I live just out of a ski resort called Sun Valley,
Right.
which everybody's heard of. I live in a little town called Haley, and Bruce Willis has made our town famous because he owns most of the town.
That's right.
And I love it. You know, there comes a time in life when quality of life is more important than quantity,
Absolutely.
and that's why I'm
I'm
there.
looking at you right now. You look absolutely wonderful.
Well, thank
and
you,
you are
Skippy.
a down-earth lady. You have really got your buttons together now. You know exactly
Well,
what
I
you
hope
really
so. It's taken me a long
And
time.
Hollywood is a tough place to grow up
Oh,
in.
it is.
Really
It
tough.
is.
What has been the hardest for you?
Well, do you know, I think when I came on the scene, I was already married and I had 2 children, and I really wasn't a part of the Hollywood scene. I didn't grow up in it, and so to me, you know, it was a job. I went, I worked, I came home to my family.
Said that word to Ann Blight. I asked her the same question. What has Hollywood done to you? And she said the same thing. She goes, church, her family, just a job.
Just exactly.
And if you make it that way, it won't go any further.
You know, you're absolutely right. And I have wonderful memories of the show.
And the people are waiting to set your
Oh, no,
Pat,
thank
you're
you.
wonderful, darling.
Thanks, Skippy. Good to see you again. You bet. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Okay, give me the Butch. Okay. Here I am sitting with Tommy Butch Bond. Hello, Tommy.
How you doing, Skip?
God, I haven't seen you in a long time.
It's wonderful to see you
Your
again.
book is out. I just see that book is doing. How is it doing?
It's did real well. I think they're going to go into a softback so they can sell it in more places, you know.
Now, growing up here, this is you as a kid. Look at that, Tommy. But working with the gang, all the gang. Tell me about working with our gang.
Well, I loved it. It was wonderful. And, you know, the wonderful part about it is that I've been representing Cabin Fever Entertainment, you know, for the last 4 years. And we've been all over the country talking to just plain folks, families, and they love the Little Rascals. We played to 4 generations of them.
You know how many, 4 generations, you're going back 40 years, and I must explain to you how many people in the globe have seen the Little Rascals. How many people have seen our gang comedy? How many people have seen these wonderful little men?
You know, there's...
Look at them all here. Look, I mean, look at these kids. Here, look, there we are. Look at this. Look at Butch here. Butch is incredible. Working with this man right here, this young man.
Buckwheat.
Buckwheat.
Wonderful guy.
Buckwheat. How did he feel as a black man, a little black boy working with these white boys?
Well, you know...
Did he make any remarks about that?
I asked him, and I asked Stymie, I asked Sunshine Sammy, how did you guys like working in the Rascals? Did you like it?
Right.
They said, we loved every minute of it.
And this one right here, this lovely lady.
Darla.
Yes.
Darla. She passed away in 1980. Yeah.
And this one right here?
You know, I don't know who he is. No?
He looks like me. No. I did something like that.
Well, I know you did, yeah.
At Monogram for...
That's right. You were an actor.
Yeah, I certainly was.
You were a kid actor.
A kid actor like you.
That's right.
But not as famous as you.
Well...
Tell me about how did you become in show business and as our gang and our...
Well, I was living in Dallas, Texas, and I was 5 years old. And I was walking down the street with my mother and my grandmother. Right. And this gentleman walked up, and he stopped us and said, is that your son? And my mother said, yeah. He said, well, you know, he's got a great face. He says, great nose. he says, I'm a talent scout for Hollywood Studio. And he says, if you can bring him out to Hollywood, he says, I can't guarantee him a job, but I can guarantee him an interview with Mr. Roach. Right. And my mother said, well, we can't just drop everything. You know, my husband's got a job. Right. My grandmother standing there, she says, I'll take him.
Was he tough to work for, Mr. Roach?
Roach, he was wonderful.
Was he? Traded the kids all?
He never interfered with the directors. He let the directors do their job.
He never came on set?
Oh, yeah, Okay. Just to play with the kids.
Right.
And we'd visit with Laurel and Hardy. They'd visit with us.
Laurel and Hardy. I'm sitting here with a man who's been with Laurel and Hardy, one of my favorite teams.
Well, I've worked with them in Blockheads, too.
You did? In vaudeville?
Yeah.
What did you do in vaudeville? Sang, dance?
Yeah, a little something like that, but mainly it was movie work. I worked with Thelma Todd and Patsy Kelly on the Roach lot, and Charlie Chase on the Roach lot. Oh, that's why they call it the Lot of Fun.
What has been well, that seems like a big joy for you, going back. but what has been the hardest for you as a child actor here in Hollywood growing up? Has it been hard things for you? What has been the hardest?
You know, it was real easy for me. I don't know why. It was tough on some of the kids. Some of the kids could not go through being an actor, a child star, and then making a transition into nobody.
Right.
It didn't bother me because I made the transition in '51, and I got into the production end of television.
Right.
So I stayed in the business.
Now you're producing and doing things, and you're writing a book, and the book is all about your life.
Right.
And it's doing extremely well.
It's doing very well, and Cabin Fever is doing excellent. We just made a new tape with Pete the dog.
There's Pete the dog.
And that's the tape
Look
we
at
made.
it.
It'll be released in August, and it's just one tape, and it's called For Pete's Sake. And it's 4 episodes with just featuring Pete the dog. And I narrated at the beginning with the new Pete.
That's great.
That's the one that was in the new movie.
Do you make the rounds for children's schools at all?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. We play the kids because we want to influence the kids in something that's good and clean.
Looking today, it's very difficult. Looking clean and wholesome and clean. It's very difficult. It wasn't like that when you grew up.
Not when you grew up either.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. It's tough today. But the kids love it. With television the way it is today, they don't show the rascals very much. So the parents put their kids, young kids, 3 or 4 years old, in front of the set, pop one of these tapes in, and the kids are entranced.
Here you're selling tapes, books, and everything.
Yeah.
And I'll let you do it. You have a lot of people, they want you to sign their books and
yes,
stuff. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Skip. It's a pleasure seeing you again.
Thank you. Yeah, that'll be fine. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, single like Christmas, the album.
Your CD is the only CD I
Great.
can really groove on.
Thank you. Guess what? I'm sitting here with this lady. This lady is the lady in Hollywood right now, young, personified. Tracy Lord, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Wow. I've been looking at you everywhere I go in Hollywood. You are just making... Can we look at this? Look at this table here at the Beverly Garland. This is Tracy Lord, who is one of the young Hollywood exciting ladies who turned around and did something with her life. Turned around and really studied, got an acting, I mean, really got serious.
Thank you, Skip.
You know, Joan Crawford started the way you started at the beginning of her career.
Really?
Yes, she did. And they burnt all those films they tried, but they didn't. But you know something? I'm very proud of you because you really got serious and you went to acting classes. You really wanted to be an actress because you came out here, you wanted to be an actress. But sometimes it doesn't happen that way. That's why you have to turn around. But you got yourself an agent, you got yourself wonderful roles in films.
What, do you want to be my new PR rep?
Tell me about this Details magazine. Wow.
Well, the Details, the cover, once a year they do the sex issue, and they choose, Drew Barrymore was on one, and I was on this one, and I was promoting my album, which is out right now, 1,000 Fires.
Right.
I'm working on my second one, so I did the cover of Details with the story inside, and that was actually the best-selling cover of Details magazine ever.
It was, yes, I heard, yes, that I heard.
So I'm very flattered and pleased about that.
Where is Tracy Lord from originally?
Ohio.
Ohio?
Yeah, Steubenville.
Western girl.
Dean Martin's hometown.
Oh, really?
And Chrissy Hine.
Uh-huh. Jeanne Martin's hometown is in Ohio, but where? In
Steubenville.
Steubenville.
Right outside Cleveland,
That's right. I worked it. I worked the American VFW or American Legion years ago.
Really?
Yeah, in the 50s, really. I used to do club
Oh, you're
dates.
too young for that.
Oh, no, I'm not. Tracy, when you were back growing up in Ohio, did you ever thought this would ever happen to you? Or did you always aim for it?
No, I mean, I was like any other little girl. I didn't really know what I wanted to do or want to be. No, I mean, in high school, I didn't have really plans for that. I mean, I always wanted to be a model. I always wanted to work.
You went to New York, did you, from there?
I was in New York, and I was in Hollywood, and...
You came out here with your, how old
my
were you?
mom.
With your
I was
mom?
12, yeah.
You were 12.
Yeah, so I'm basically a California
you and Brooke
girl.
Shields. You and Brooke.
Yeah.
You and Brooke Shields have a lot in common.
I've never met her.
Never met her, but you do have a lot in common.
Really?
Yeah, I have a feeling because she was a model. Her mother, pushing, and she did a lot of bathing models in the bathtubs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you did the same thing, you know, really, basically. And to be a sex goddess in Hollywood, is it tough?
You tell me.
I'm talking to you. You'll never drown, that's for sure.
Well, thank you very much. It's always been like this.
But you're very beautiful.
Thank you.
And is there a man in your life right now, Tracy?
Yeah, same man.
Same man?
Yeah, John, he knows.
Uh-huh.
My fiance, he was on Melrose Place. He came on Melrose Place after I was on the show, and then we met actually through my acting coach at a Christmas party. So about 2 years now. He was here earlier signing, but Shannon has since taken his place.
Melrose Place.
Yeah.
Interesting when you first arrived.
I loved it.
How were the kids on the set?
Great. The best one out of all, I think, is Heather Locklear, who she's definitely had her ups and downs, and there was a period, I think, where people really didn't take her too seriously. She was the beautiful blonde, girl that no one took seriously, and she is truly one of the most extraordinary women I've ever met in my life. She is so gracious and so sweet and so hardworking, and if I wanted to be like anyone, it would be her.
Would be like her.
Yeah.
You and Drew Barrymore have a lot in common, too.
I've heard that.
Yeah, very much so. Nice talking to you.
Nice
You're a
talking to
lovely
you.
lady, and I wish you a lot in your career. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a nice show.
Well, here I am with Steve Allen. Steve Allen, one of the greatest, television. If you say of The Tonight Show or any of these great shows on television, talk shows, this is where it originated. This is the man who originated the TV show.
Let the record so reflect.
That's right. So let's talk about Steve Allen. You have these books. This is all your life here. This is what you've experienced in life, tasted in life. Steve, has it been tough?
No, there have been tough moments in life, but they have nothing to do with writing books or jokes or acting or doing comedy concerts. That's all the fun part.
But living, going back to your career. First started from New York originally?
Well, in the sense that I was born there. My mother and father were a vaudeville comedy team. Her name was Belle Montrose. In fact, one of the collectors that was here yesterday came up and gave me something very generously that is quite precious to me. It was a little article from Variety, the trade publication, as you know, in 1921 or some year like that, about my mother. And anyway, that's how I got into the business. I was born in it.
We don't know that.
But
Judy Garland's born in the trunk. Steve Allen, really?
It was pretty much that way. Yeah, I was born in New York, although kids of vaudevillians had a kind of a tough problem once they reached school age, 5 or 6, because the law says you have to go to school. But to go to school, you have to live in one town. And the vaudevillians didn't live in one town. They were a different town every week or so. Consequently, I didn't see my mother that much during the important years. So, but nevertheless, I was able to live in Chicago with members of her family for the most part, and go to what turned out to be a total of 18 schools in all.
In Chicago?
Mostly in Chicago, yeah.
I'm from Rockford, Illinois, originally. Chicago, grew up there.
Yes.
And I knew Chicago very well. It's a great city to grow up.
Still is, yes.
And it's a great showtown, too. The Oriental Theater, the Chicago Theater.
Yes.
Great theaters, you worked them.
A lot of history there, right.
Tell me about the Oriental Theater. Did you work that show?
I went down there one night, and there were no Orientals, so I never went there again. It was a very disappointing experience.
Comedy. You do a lot of comedy writing.
I just did it right in front of you.
Yeah, I know you did. A lot of comedy writing, Steve Allen.
Yeah. Well, some of my books are funny. There's a book called How to Be Funny, and it's funny.
Right.
There's another book called Make 'Em Laugh, and it's in the funny category. And in fact,
a cooking book too, don't you?
no, but I can have one for you by Tuesday if you need.
Okay.
This is just one of my series of murder mysteries. This is called Murder in Vegas, and there's a new one coming out.
Well, here's Miss America. How are you?
I'm fine, darling. How are you?
Mayweather.
Yes.
The
What's
one and
left
only.
of her?
How are you? What do you mean leftover? Why are you saying that, dear?
I'm suffering through jet lag. I'm living in New York now.
Ah, that's my favorite place. I want to go to New York, Mr. Blackwell. I heard from Grace Robbins, and she is having a good time in New York City. This is Mr. Blackwell.
Love you.
And this is the man who...
She's gorgeous.
This is the man who tells everybody what to wear, what shouldn't wear, and yes or no, what's in.
No, I'm not that evil.
You are.
No, I don't go
Well, you're
around
pretty good
telling
today.
everyone.
Look at you.
No, I love my pants.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yes. Okay.
This is history.
The pants.
The pants.
Okay.
Sign.
By everybody. Isn't that wonderful? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, these are going to be auctioned off at a Cher Boomtown affair. There's great signatures on here and wonderful autographs.
Great idea.
I'm flattered to be on with someone so pretty.
This is a pretty
isn't he
lady,
nice?
and the year was, what year was Miss America?
Oh, dear.
That's a long time ago.
A
Let's share.
long,
We're having a good. There's a lovely lady over there. Her name is Paige. And
oh,
she
yes,
is,
I know
she's,
her.
She's,
Yes,
she
she's
speaks
adorable.
right up, darling.
1955 was my year.
Hey, that was my favorite year. What was your favorite year?
1955.
What was your
My
favorite
year was 1944.
44?
I was on Broadway with Mae West,
Oh.
with Jean Barry.
No, were you
Yes,
really?
a whole year of hell.
Oh,
It
how
was a year of hell.
Oh, no,
being with
couldn't have been.
Mae.
Was it really?
Okay.
Oh, it was hell.
Which play? What play did you do?
I played every part, from the monk to the hairdresser to the dressmaker to a guard to a
What play was it?
to
I
a
know.
Stan. Catherine was great.
Oh,
Catherine the Great.
You were in that?
Yes.
And how old were you then? You were a very young boy.
No, I was attractively young.
Well, you came to Hollywood when you were very young anyway. You
Sure.
You did a lot of children films,
Wait a
kid
minute.
films.
If the camera will go up
Yeah.
on top,
Oh, go ahead. Yes, what
that is me as one of the Dead End Kids.
Dead End Kids.
Little
that's
tough
right.
guys.
No.
That's yes,
Yes.
yes,
You?
yes.
And then, of course, June and I are on a lot of the cruise ships, too, doing some lectures.
Oh, Junie
And
loves to
Junie's
cruise.
lovely.
When I see, I never know when she's docked. I think that she's always at sea somewhere. And her husband is a great climber.
Yes.
He goes, if there's a mountain, he's going up it. And wherever, we did a cruise, Junie and Esther Williams and I, to the inland waterway to Alaska. And it was my first cruise. It was breathtakingly beautiful. And we had the best reunion, the three of us, from the MGM days. It was delightful.
Ask you a question, Marcia Hunt. You help a lot of people. You're helping the homeless here in the valley. The homeless, we have big problems with the homeless.
We do
You
indeed.
are doing a lot for it. Tell me about the organization.
Well, we can't begin to end the problem, but it feels good to be working on it as best we can. I started something called the Valley Mayor's Fund for the Homeless. See, every community has an honorary mayor in the valley, and there are about 23 or 4 communities in the valley. I'm the honorary mayor of Sherman Oaks. So under that title, a bunch of us got together, and we helped start about 3 facilities of different kinds for the homeless, and then we raised money to keep them going. And we provide blankets in the winter so that those who don't have a shelter can at least keep warm outdoors. And we provide services and counseling.
And how do they contact your office? Would you give us
Well, the police department and a lot of, I think the libraries all have what we call the homeless help card. And we have put out a little, it's small enough to fit in their pockets or in their wallets if they still have wallets, it's a directory of where to go to find what? Food, counseling, clothing, job opportunities, whatever, and if there is any shelter to be had.
Marcia Hunt, your book, The Way We Wore, it's out right now. It's doing extremely
It's in its 3rd printing, Skip. Yeah.
This cover is just elegant. Look at this.
Thank you.
Lovely book.
Thank you.
You are such, both of you are lovely, elegant ladies.
Thank you.
It's lovely to visit with you.
Taking you away from
And it's fun meeting the moviegoers who collect things, and they will stand at your table and tell you every movie you ever made.
You know something? They're all waiting for you right now.
All right, and it's good to see you,
Thank you very
Skippy.
much.
And see you soon again. Bye-bye.
Hello, testing. Here I am with Jeanne Carmen, one of the sexiest ladies here at the Hollywood show. Whoa.
And
How are you, my love?
I'm having a blast. I found all kinds of little magazines that I did back in the 50s and things I hadn't even seen.
I want you to glance down here at this table. Look at these. I have never never seen such sex pot in my life since Marilyn Monroe. And matter of fact, talking about Marilyn Monroe, you and Marilyn were very good friends.
We were best friends. I was probably the only girlfriend she had.
Right.
And we did a lot of funny little things.
Like what? Share an experience with you and Marilyn.
Oh, like going and sneaking into people's pools and naked while they were away from home.
And putting mustaches on.
And putting
about the mustache.
And going to the movies in our mink coats with nothing underneath. And,
what theater was that?
And going.
I want to know the
It was
theater.
in Hollywood.
Oh, really?
And going to the nude beach with Bobby Kennedy and all that.
Are you sitting there telling me you had nothing on underneath that mink coat?
Nothing.
Really? You're
Nothing.
a lady of my heart.
But we did have Bobby socks on.
Oh, okay.
And we even cooked. We cooked and.
What's new and exciting right now in Jeanne Carmen's life?
Well, I still have a book that should be published one of these days. I haven't got it published yet. The one my son wrote, and it's on.
Your son is
Brandon James.
Brandon James, right?
And it's about Marilyn Monroe and other celebrities I've played with. And Brandon wrote. There he stands right there. He wrote a screenplay on my life. Just a little small part. That is called 3 on the Road, and it's about my trick shot golfing.
That's right. I forgot. Jeanne Carmen is a wonderful golfer, professional. Matter of fact,
your face?
Yeah, you certainly can, darling. Those two, you'll never drown anyway, dear. I must tell you, Jeanne Carmen, you and Dean Martin. Edie Williams is claiming about Dean Martin, but really, you and Dean Martin were very good friends. Frank Sinatra too.
Well, Frank Sinatra and I had a little bit different deal than Dean and I. Yeah, Dean and I were just friends.
Just friends.
Frank and I were a little bit more than that.
Really? You can sit there and tell me that you and Frank
yes.
Separate rooms or twin beds?
No separate rooms and no twin beds.
You're wonderful. You're having a good time here today?
Yes, I am.
Good. Nice.
I'm glad you came.
Tell me about why is such a cult following you are. Tell me, why do you think?
Well, because all the movies I made were so bloody bad that they all turned into cult movies.
These monster movies are great. You did a lot of good monster movies.
Well, I did Monster, I did Western, I did Gangster, I did The Three Stooges.
Favorite
I've
movie.
done it all.
Favorite movie?
They were all my favorite.
Were they really?
I had fun with all of them. Although the one I did with Lex Barker was probably my favorite, only because Lex was my favorite.
Was he a hot guy? Huh?
Woo! Was
Jeanne
he
Carmen,
ever?
It's getting hot here right now, just talking to you. Talk to you later, darling.
Bye.
Here she is, Fran Jeffries, one of the great singers, one of the great singers in America. Matter of fact, your daughter has a club in town.
Yes, well, she has a wonderful restaurant called Cicada Restaurant, Italian, and we do jazz every Thursday, or when Fran comes in, it's Thursday or Friday or Saturday with my trio, and it's fantastic.
For people who don't know who Fran Jeffries is, I must tell you, youngies, this lady is a great singer. And not only a great singer, she was married to one of the great singers, Dick Haymes.
I was a fan. Dick Haymes. Yes, a great fan. I'm such a fan of yours.
How are you, my
I'm
darling?
just wonderful.
You look
so
absolutely
good.
good. So
I came to see all my friends here today.
Yes, I see Mr. Blackwell's here.
Mr. Blackwell, I haven't seen in so long.
I know. Have you read his book?
I have, and I didn't
Rags
expect
to
to see him
Bitches?
today.
I love that title, don't you?
I love it. I love it.
If anyone can use that title, it's him. Fran Jeffries, are you singing at the club?
I won't be singing there till about next month.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'm going on to Seal Beach, where there's Leisure World. I'm going to be working there probably the 27th of next month for 3 days.
Good.
It's a lovely place to sing with my trio. Then I'll be back at Cicada.
Good.
And I'll send you another invitation. Thank you. Good to see you.
Nice seeing you, Fran.
Bye-bye.
Nice seeing you. Bye.
Fran. Gosh. Where are you going to be?
I'll be at Cicada.
Hello, Rags to Bitches, Mr. Blackwell, the book. Come on, tell me about the Rags. That's
Rags to Bitches.
That's it.
A wonderful story about Hollywood, about Brooklyn, about life. It really is. It is not the bitchy book you would imagine. It's a wonderful story of survival. It's a wonderful story about Hollywood. It's a wonderful story about Broadway. And it's a better story about having faith in yourself.
It happens to be a very honest book.
Yes.
Was it difficult for you to write this book? to express yourself, to be honest as you are in this book?
No.
It wasn't?
It would have been difficult for me to lie. Anybody who doesn't want to hear it can close it up. They don't have to read it. Because what I've said in this book is what is happening to literally thousands of young men and young women in the world. And they think they're alone. They think nobody cares. But there is someone who cares. And the minute they know they're not the only one, then they're going to feel better about themselves. Yes, it was a tough book to write, but I'm proud of it. I've been bashed for it. I have been stepped on for it, but I'm proud of it. And I'm proud of every word I said. I wouldn't take one word back. And those people who really are honest are going to read this book, Skibby, and say, thank you.
This is the sex edition right now. This is going
third.
The third. It's doing so well.
Third print.
You wrote another book called The Worst of the 30 Years of Fashions.
Well,
tell me about that. I love that.
Everyone expects this to be what it is. A very outspoken opinion of what Hollywood has done fashion-wise for 30 years.
Why is Mr. Blackwell so outspoken? Why? I know. Tell me why, Mr.
Because
Blackwell.
I'm not afraid.
You're not afraid?
I believe in what I believe.
Right.
And
Have you lost a lot of friends in that way? No, right?
No.
To being honest.
No.
I agree.
No, I don't think so. No, I shouldn't say that. I lost acquaintances, people I knew. I did not lose any friends. Big difference. And as far as they're concerned, see you later. It was okay by me. Really.
Mr. Blackwell, you grew up in Hollywood. Actually, you came out here.
This.
Butch. What is this? Is what?
Little Tough Guys.
That's right.
Dead End Kids.
Dead End Kids.
It all started with this.
Right.
And that was the beginning. 1937.
37.
Can you believe this?
Look at that.
60 years ago.
I'm looking at you right now. You look wonderful. What's your secret? What is your secret? Look at you.
Good plastic surgery.
See, there's another honest thing. That is, I like to do a shot of that, of your fashion thing. Mrs. Barbara Sinatra. Jane Mansfield. And you.
Is me.
That's right. Self-portrait.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
It's the beginning of Dead End. Right.
Well, Mr. Blackwell, I wish you a lot of luck on Rags to Bitches, okay?
Yeah, you're terrific. Wonderful guy.
God bless you.
Bye.
Thank you. And thank you for the T-shirt. Look at the T-shirt. If you need a T-shirt, Mr. Blackwell, come down here. La la. I love it. Thank you, Mr. Blackwell. God bless you. I'm sitting with Yvette Vickers, one of my favorite ladies from the horror movies of all horror movies. How are you, darling?
I'm fine. I'm so happy to see you, Skippy.
I haven't seen you in a long time.
5 years. I was out of town taking care of my mom and dad. They were quite ill. But I missed you, and I thought about you often. I wrote you a little note.
Did you really?
Yeah, but I guess you didn't get it. I don't know.
What's happening and exciting in your life right now?
Well, I'm singing again. I'm making another tape.
Good.
Skippy, I must tell you all, he was the kindest person. At the Comedy Store in the Belly Room, he used to invite me up there to sing and play. I had a marvelous time, and it encouraged me to make these tapes, and a lot of people like them.
You look wonderful.
I feel wonderful.
Tell me about your pictures here. Look at these pictures of Yvette. Do a shot down here, baby. Look at these. Wonderful. Look at this. What was this from? I love this photo.
These are portraits.
These are portraits.
I had taken when I was about 20.
Look
this is
at
from
that.
the giant leeches.
This is the leeches, the giant leeches.
And
let's get a good shot of that. How did you say? Look. See, the giant leeches. Voila.
And this one is from the 50-foot woman. Now, that's the original. sensational. You can see that.
Wow.
The attack of the 50-foot woman.
They attacked.
My dear fans who love those two movies have brought me back from the grave.
Yvette Vickers, never from the grave. You're always doing quite well. How about a thank you, Yvette?
I started it, and then I got sort of stalled. You know how that goes?
Yeah.
A little bit blocked.
I got to run out of here, but boy, you look great. I want to get you.
Thank you, sweetie. So do you.
Autograph.
Say to you.
Okay? Love you, darling.
I love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Here I am, Jane Keane. How are you, sweetheart?
Well, I'm just grand.
And guess who I just spoke to? One of your lady friends who is in Atlanta, and Honey Merrill.
Oh, did you?
Little Honey Merrill.
What's she doing in Atlanta?
Well, she's going to move back to New York with her daughter.
But she tried living in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Funny, I was just there.
Were you really? That's right. You did a show
The University of Georgia.
Oh,
I just got back Wednesday.
What were you doing? Which show?
Sabrina Fair.
Oh, great show.
Yeah,
great.
It was fun. A beautiful college. It's an hour away from Atlanta.
I wonder if
I
she
went into
saw it.
Atlanta.
She
No,
advertised?
no, probably not. No. Gosh, I
Jane
wish
Keane,
I'd known
tell
she
me,
was there.
growing up in the business, you and your sister, and come on, I mean, show business today. What do you think? What's happening?
Well, there's no more vaudeville and there are no more nightclubs.
I mean, when I see a movie called The Stripper with this Jenny Moore getting $7-8 million, I am just out of my mind to see films like that.
I know.
And people like Betty Davis getting $200,000 for a movie.
I know.
The most.
Clark Gable at his height only made $5,000 a week.
$5,000 a week. Could you imagine what is happening to our?
Well, it's and when they say it's the economy, my God.
No, it's not. It's the pits of the young people presenting things. Jane Keane, tell me.
Price of fame.
Working with Jackie Gleason and all those great shows.
Well,
tell me about.
Well, that was something that could never happen again. I mean, I'm so spoiled whenever I do a TV show because we played like it was a Broadway show with an audience and wonderful material. To me, there's one show comparable, and that's I like Frasier too, but Seinfeld.
Seinfeld.
I love
Frasier and Seinfeld are the best.
Yes, I think so. Well, you've got four great people.
Right.
And just like
But do you think that Jackie Gleason show gave the writers ideas for that show? Don't you think?
Yes. Oh, definitely. All in the Family was certainly a spin-off of that.
Right.
Archie Bunker was Ralph Cramden, but going a little further as far as the language is concerned. Because, see, Jackie was very puritanical when it came to saying an obscene word. Yes, he was. He wanted his ladies, the gals that he went with, like Honey Merrill, who you mentioned before.
He didn't
very
marry
refined.
her, though. He was with her for all his years.
Well, she walked out.
And when she dropped him,
yes, she did.
He married
Beverly McKittrick.
Yeah,
Beverly McKittrick briefly.
Yeah.
Briefly. Well, he wanted to show Honey that if she'd stuck in there, he would have married her. But how long could she stick around? Yeah. She was with him for 14 years.
Jane Keane, you look absolutely wonderful.
Aren't
and
you
people
sweet?
are here seeing and getting autographs. How about a book, Jane Keane?
Well, that's me.
Is it really?
Yes. Well, my nightclub act.
Ah, when you did
a few years ago.
Look at that.
Quite a few years ago. Down memory lane, we call it.
Well, we're down memory lane here now.
I know. This is my first experience here, and I'm having
here. John Agar, they're all here, and Margaret. Margaret O'Brien.
Right? Is she? Well, you tell me, because I never get past this
Fran
aisle.
Jeffries. Oh, they're all here. It's just charming. Marcia Hunt. They're all here. Anyway, my darling, I'll let you go.
Good to see you, darling.
Thank you for coming to my